As My Planet ambassador, I'm inviting you to do one thing. Nominate a credible environmental organization like WWF, EWT, SANCOB. You choose. Do one thing, make a difference. It costs you nothing.
Let's take a look at the leaderboard. First question is, will any team be able to stop the Norwegians? Well, they are a matter of hours away from the South Pole, and the Welsh are also opening up a gap between second and third. And we can also say for certain that all the remaining teams in the race have left the halfway mark. Remember, there were 7 teams and we're now down to 4, with Team SA in 4th place, but closing the gap on Team Centrepoint Britain. After months of preparation and training, Team South Africa is halfway to the South Pole. The competition is stiff, with the Norwegians showing their icy caliber. Is Bram and Pieter's training efficient to win the race? Tim Noakes, the chairperson of the Discovery Institute, the peak performance partner in the race, shared his thoughts.
Well, the reality is you only have to get through the first week with the training you did before, and then you actually start training. Each day is a training event. So you actually train while you're out there. The problem is that their skills on the skis are the key issue, and that's what they needed to train. Physically, they can do it, however little training they've done, because they will get fit on the march. The question is, how skilled are they on skis? That's the real question. The Norwegians have been doing it since the age of 1, and South Africans have been doing it from the age of 35, and that's the difference.
But Antarctica is so vast and mostly flattish. How important will skiing skills be in this environment?
The surface is not regular. It's got all these bumps, and it's not easy. And therefore, the more skill you have in skiing that way, the better. And secondly, there's a real skill required. So the Norwegians will they'll be gliding an extra foot with each stride, without any extra effort. And so for each stride, they're going a foot further, or maybe 2 feet further. And you multiply that by a couple of million strides, and then you see the difference.
For the South Africans to stand a chance of winning, what strategy should Bram and Pieter employ, bearing in mind that Bram is still harboring that knee injury?
Well, Bram's strategy is very clear. Because he's carrying an injury which we don't know what it's like, he has to start slowly and see that the knee can cope, and he has to get strong and train his body, because perhaps he's not properly trained as yet. So he needs to develop his fitness for the first half of the race, and then he finishes strongly. That's the ideal program for him. I think in Pete's mind, his ideal will be to do as much as exercise each day as he can, probably up to 18 to 20 hours a day with 4 hours sleep, and just sustain that for as long as possible. My advice would be that they should follow Bram's model, and that they should start easily, and that if at halfway they realize actually we're now competent, we've trained, we're getting stronger, we know how to use the skis, we're at altitude, we're adapting well to altitude, let's go for it. Then they can start exercising 20 hours a day and sleeping 4 hours a night.
Well, as we heard, Team SA reached the halfway mark, and with the camp at Checkpoint 1 in sight, this is what they had to say.
378 kilometers. Feels amazing. You know, we've been looking forward to this for just days now. You know, this has been well done.
Our hearts are good, eh? Our hearts are strong.
Yeah.
And very fortunately, we haven't had any major injuries. I want this doctor either cut my toe off or pull the nail off or something. Our coughs are better.
Yeah.
And we're feeling good. We're feeling good.
We've got about 11 days to go after this. And so in those 11 days, Bram and I are going to discuss it now over this rest. We're going to chunk it so that we've got something to look forward to every 3 days or something like that.
With more than half the journey behind, and with our 2 athletes having found their rhythm, we are expecting great things from Bram and Pieter. Keep up the good work.